All right, and now it's the time of our show where we're going to make our picks for the SEC games this weekend. We'll close with Mizzou and Alabama, but Ben, you've got the big board. This is going up.
This is where we put people's kids through college.
It's going exactly right. It's going up on KTRS.com as we speak, and it's also in video form. And obviously for you right here as we wind down this edition of Mizzou Football Friday. Luis Noya, our cameraman for this. So let's start the picks, Ben, in quite possibly a game I think could be a sneaky good game. Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on ESPN. Florida, the number 5 team in the country, they are favored by 2 touchdowns against Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. How do you see this one?
Like a lot of people are picking Florida to win the East.
They are the pick. Georgia. They're the media pick, yeah.
I like Lane Kiffin's the chance for him to cause some chaos. I think he'll make a statement in this one. He's got some playmakers offensively, and that's his strength. So, with there being so much uncertainty, I just feel like two teams that we don't know a lot about. Florida's got the pedigree, but I'd like Ole Miss to maybe keep this a little closer than 2 touchdowns. I'm gonna go on a Lane train here.
My gut tells me to follow your lead, Ben, because it looks like way too many points on the road for Florida. But somebody knows something here. They're the media pick. 14 points seems like a lot on the road. But remember, this is not a normal road game. None of these are going to be normal road games. So you almost, in some regard, I'm going to view these as kind of neutral field.
Have to.
I'm going Gators here.
Right,
I think they're the more talented team, and I'm going to go Florida minus the 14 to take down Ole Miss on the road in Oxford on Saturday afternoon. This game, the next game, also very interesting. 2 ranked teams, number 23 Kentucky at number 8 Auburn, and the Auburn Tigers, Ben, favored by 7.5 over Coach Stoops' Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, this has a chance to be an upset central. Kentucky, I've been high on Kentucky for a few years now. I keep pointing out to Missouri fans who think that wins over Kentucky are automatic, that the Tigers haven't beaten them in going on 5 years now. Kentucky's ranked 23rd. Stoops is set there. Auburn tends to finish seasons better than it starts them. That's kind of been the thing under Gus Malzahn. It seems like when the pressure's on, he finds a way to keep it going. So I'm actually going to take Kentucky here.
I like Kentucky too. And even on the road, I feel like Kentucky is in the, again, preseason media poll, they're the 4th best team in the East. Kentucky, I think, could win the Pac-12. I think Kentucky's that good. And they're the 4th best team in the East. What a brutal the division this is going to be. I think Kentucky might be able to win this game outright. So getting 7.5 points, love it. So we're on the same page there, Ben, both liking Kentucky getting 7.5. How about the CBS game? Saturday afternoon, 2:30, LSU, the defending national champion, 4th-ranked Tigers, hosting the Mississippi State Bulldogs, the 6th-ranked LSU Tigers. Ben, LSU favored by 16.5 against Mike Leach, making his SEC debut in Miss State.
Similar one to the first one we picked here. These first-year coaches, Lane Kiffin, Leach, they're going to be looking to make an impression, and both are offensive guys. So I think points will be scored. Now, LSU, I kind of feel like they're getting disrespected a little bit by being a defending national champion, but they lost a lot. They've also lost a great offensive coordinator that was really the key to a lot of their success. Oh, and by the way, Joe Burrow's not there anymore. That's a lot of points, and LSU is still going to be good, but that's a lot of points. So I'm going to pick the Bulldogs to cover.
LSU might have their Heisman Trophy candidate, Ben, might be on the defensive side of the ball, and Derek Stingley. I'm going to go LSU here minus the 16 points. I think there's a chance they could eviscerate this Mississippi State team defensively. I think we could look up and Mike Leach having to swallow a pretty big pill his first game. They could score nothing. I really like.
Back to Washington
he
State,
might have to. He might have to. I really
will sail away.
Really like LSU as they give 16.5 in this game. All right, Georgia, 4th-ranked Dogs at Coach Pittman and Coach Odom's Arkansas Razorbacks bend Georgia, favored by 26.5 on the road.
Sounds about right to me. I think Arkansas could be better under Coach Pittman, but I don't think it's going to happen fast, and I think Georgia will be putting up style points. So I'm going to take the Bulldogs to roll in this one.
I don't know. There is some uncertainty, at least outwardly, at the quarterback position for Georgia, as obviously Newman is already opted out. Daniels, the transfer from USC, not ready. It sounds like they're going to go with a talented but very unproven 6'6" redshirt freshman. Barry Odom, he's when Barry can just concentrate on the defense, his track record is pretty good. I'm going to take Arkansas plus all those points at home against Georgia, plus 26.5, and I'm also going to say Arkansas scores a defensive touchdown in this game. I like Arky Woo Pig Suey. Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, 10th ranked Aggies. A&M favored by 31 points here, Ben.
Too many points. There's just too much uncertainty to expect that not to be a closer game. Now, again, I think A&M is going to win, but that's a lot of points. It's the biggest spread we've talked about here. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to be all that good, but I think this game, considering all of the craziness of this season, I think games are going to be closer, especially early on with the change we've seen. So I'm gonna go with Vanderbilt here to cover.
I like Texas A&M. I think if they weren't in the same division as Bama and LSU and Auburn, they're the fourth pick in the media poll. I think A&M would get some love as a sleeper national title contender. And I still think they're going to get some of that love. They've got to make some statements early to put them in the discussion for that later, especially if they lose some games. Style points are going to be important for A&M. I do think they roll here. I will take A&M minus the 31 against Vandy. That brings us to the late game on the SEC Network. Number 16, Tennessee at South Carolina. This could be a good one. Vols favored by 3.5 against Coach Muschamp's Gamecocks. Ben, you always have a good read on Tennessee. What do you think of the Vols right here? As it sounds like that they're starting to get some national love. The number 3 ranked team in the East in terms of the media poll.
Usually it's about pulling back expectations for Tennessee. I think they're going to be pretty good this year. And I don't think South Carolina is very good. You talked about style points. Tennessee's going to need some too. So I think this is a style point game for the Vols. I got them. I think this is easy money picking Tennessee to win this game by more than 3.5.
Okay,
Tell me you're going to agree with me for once.
I am.
All right.
I think Tennessee is Tennessee's far better team here. If this were an actual crowd, full house, Columbia, South Carolina, I tend to go with South Carolina. They have some. They're able to get some home cooking going, and I think they're probably going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 there. It's not quite going to be the same. Tennessee's the better team. I like the Vols on the road. So that brings us to our game tomorrow night here in the Big 550. Number 2, Alabama at Mizzou, tied favorite by almost 4 touchdowns on the road, minus 27. Ben, there is some history here. When Mizzou faces a top-ranked team and they're a 4-touchdown dog, just think back to Nebraska 23 years ago in the flea kicker game. That's what I will always point to in a game that Mizzou should have won. Ultimately, they lost it in overtime. Do the Tigers put a scare into Alabama like Corby Jones and the Tigers put into Nebraska 23 years ago?
I'm going to walk things back a little bit here because I've said some of these big point spreads are a little wacky, but there are probably 2 teams where I think they're probably not very wacky, and those teams are the powerhouses of the conference, and one is Georgia and the other is Alabama. I think Alabama's deep. I think it has managed to keep its team together remarkably well despite this chaos of the COVID. You have also an Alabama team that is uniquely motivated because they were locked out of the college football playoff last year. They know full well that the college football playoff might come down to one team from each conference, which would be unique. And you better believe Nick Saban's already thinking about that. So considering what we don't know about Mizzou and some of the guys they will be without, I think Alabama covers in this game.
I think this game's a game at halftime, and I think Mizzou early, like I said, they've got to bank points early when the unknown factor can really play up, where you're a series or two in and you can do something crazy. When you do something crazy, you have to put a touchdown on the board. So I think at halftime, this could be relatively close. The problem is, with all of Alabama's talent, and this is why it's tough to pick Mizzou, is that Alabama could score 3 touchdowns in 5 minutes with these guys. You could blink and the game is now over because of their skill, talent, and their ability on defense to score. So I've got to go Bama, but this is the game for me where the unknown really makes it tough. If I'm a bettor, I'm not touching this game. There's too many unknowns. Bama could win by 60, but if you told me Mizzou was hanging around, closing in on the fourth quarter, it would not shock me. There's too much here left to doubt that I would be comfortable placing a wager on this game.
Well, we just don't know enough about Missouri. We don't know really anything about Missouri, and that's kind of their biggest weapon against Alabama is the element of mystery. But we do know about Alabama, and we know about how those teams tend to play after what for Alabama is a down year. So that's why I'm picking Alabama, and we're going to be eating crow here with Coach Drinkwitz.
I love it, though.
If we're wrong about this one.
Unfortunately, Ben's got to mark us both down for Alabama. You're watching our picks on KTRS.com and listening to us on the Big 550. Check us out every Friday night at 7 as we get you ready for the next day's Mizzou football game, exclusively heard here on the Big 550 KTRS.